Hello, America. This is Guy Calisi, and this is the Older Bulls podcast. I'm coming to you today with a topic that I'm calling personal revolution. I just want to start by giving a big head shake. We are going through absolutely crazy times right now. There's no other way of explaining it. None of us alive have ever seen anything like we're experiencing right now. I don't care what continent you're on; it doesn't make a difference. This is all we're charting new territory here, and it's going to take a toll, and it's taking a toll emotionally on the world, economically, obviously, but emotionally as well. And I really just want to say one thing. I'm trying as hard as I can not to be political here, because I believe that we have a personal responsibility to do the best that we can to make ourselves as strong as we can. And that impact will change the world, one man at a time. I believe that wholeheartedly. But what I want to say is that the sleepwalkers have been awakened by fear. And fear is a very powerful motivator. Without giving credence to one side or the other of any issue, I believe that it is our personal responsibility to say the things that we feel we need to say. Not to feel like you are being told that you can't say something or the way that you're feeling is wrong. I think that things change when people start talking and we start having open and honest communication. I believe that. So take that to the bank. Today, find your passion and start changing your life. It sounds simple, doesn't it? And we've heard it so many times from so many different sources. And we all know it's not simple. It's anything but simple. Starting a personal revolution is what I want to talk about right now. And it's no easy task. And to keep continuing on that path of personal revolution is even harder. Momentum is the key. Keep moving forward no matter how small you think the steps of your progress are. And I'm going to get into some details as to what I'm talking about specifically here. If you're waiting for some divine intervention or someone, even worse, to tell you how great you are and to give you that once in a lifetime opportunity that you've been waiting for, that you think you deserve, stop waiting, because it's not going to happen for most of us anyway. I told my kids, actually my students and my personal children, I tell them all the time that I'm just doing this teaching gig thing until I get a call from Hollywood. And it's a joke, but there's a little seriousness in there as well, because I always had a dream that I never followed through on. So I'm not kidding myself into thinking that, I worked really hard and it just didn't happen. Never followed through on to make it to Hollywood or just be a person that people knew, an influencer, I guess you would call them today. In order to embark on this personal revolution that I'm talking about, you have to realize that you need to make a change and then act in order to change your direction. But I think, first of all, you need to believe that you need to make a change. I mean, not all of us need to make a change. Maybe some of us are very happy where we are. But just don't be fine. Don't be okay. If you're truly happy and you can sit back and assess your situation and say, yeah, I have things that I look forward to. I like my life. I am really happy. If that's your situation, then stop listening right now, because this has nothing to do with you. But for the rest of you, let's keep the conversation going. So what I'm saying is that no amount of wishing, hoping, or praying is going to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Now, I know what people are saying. Well, there's a big risk involved in any kind of change that you're going to embark on. How do I do that? What if I don't have any money, or if I have responsibilities, Guy. That's the reality of life. And all of our situations are different. Some of us have a little more freedom, either financially or because we don't have family, or maybe we're not married, but it doesn't matter. And that's my point. None of those things should be getting in the way of you figuring out, excuse me, none of those things should be getting in the way of you figuring out what your calling is or where you want to go with your life. They may be obstacles, but they are definitely not deterrents. We do, however, need to consider the term that I heard a while back, and I can't remember where, which is, gosh, I can't remember the term. What is it called? I have it right here. It's called action faking. Okay, so action faking, which is doing things that make you think that you're making progress or accomplishing something. So, like reading, planning, making schedules, preparing things, all of those things that you do in order to get ready to do something, never actually doing what it is that all of that preparation was supposed to lead to. Okay, so that's what this term refers to. And if well, let's say I'm going to give you an example in my life. I would decide that I was going to be changing up my workout routine, and I wanted to do something different, like a full body workout 3 days a week. So I spent a lot of time thinking about the things that I had done in the past, thinking about workouts, looking up, men like Mike Mentzer, workouts, the HIIT workouts, training where tempo really matters. And then I wouldn't do the workout that day. I would wait a couple of days. So I felt really good about, planning it and preparing it, and yeah, I'm ready to go. But I didn't do anything. So I actually got the endorphins, pumped, but I tricked myself into thinking that I accomplished something, but I really didn't. It was a small part of a bigger thing that I actually wanted to do. So you haven't really done anything, but your body thinks that you have, and you feel good about it. So there is a point at which you need to start doing whatever it is you want to do. I get it. I'm all for planning and preparation, but there comes a point where the rubber needs to meet the road, and no amount of planning or preparation is going to make that happen. You just actually need to put the car in drive and go. It's as simple as that. So what you need to do is start exploring the options if you feel like you're in a place that you don't want to be. So you can keep your soul-sucking job. We're talking about responsibilities and things like that. If you need to keep paying the bills like most of us do, you need to keep that job. But you need to give it your all when you're there. You need to keep your soul-sucking job, but at the same time, you need to start looking at things that you're interested in. Start soul-searching. Start thinking about things that you've always wanted to do. Spend a certain amount of time every day or week looking into possibilities. Talk to people, do research, think about what you would love to do, and find out how you can move towards making it happen today. When I'm planning and preparing for my podcast, and remember, I have no idea. I mean, maybe there's 5 people listening, maybe there's 20 people listening. It doesn't matter. I have no idea, but it just doesn't make a difference. I'm still going to do it because I'm motivated to do it. This is what I wanted to do, so I made it happen. Oh, I'm doing it after everybody in my house is asleep. I'm doing it on my time, not my family's time, my time, not during work when I have to be doing my job, but my personal time. I'm carving that time out and I'm making it happen. But there are only 24 hours in a day, you say, Guy. It's a valid point. Are you willing to do whatever it is to get yourself into a better place? And that is, if you've been listening to my podcast, something that comes up constantly. This whole process starts with you just being inspired or motivated. And that really changes your state, your mood, your headspace. Looking for something inspirational takes you away from the mundane, from that soul sucking life. If you're experiencing that, I'm not trying to, project this on anybody, but you need to start thinking about that. Looking for something inspirational takes you away from the mundane, from the mediocrity, from the soul sucking stuff that you have to do every day that you want to stop doing soon and give you hope. So, something to look forward to is what I'm asking you to do. Put that into play. It provides a distraction, but that isn't what this is about. Finding something that will help you live the kind of life that you want to live. And, those of you who are making a good amount of money and are still unhappy, it's not about the money, obviously. So you need to dig deep and think about what it is that's missing in your life, how you want to leave your mark, how you want to contribute, and what form it's going to take. So on this quest, during this quest, life shouldn't suck because you're excited about the possibilities, the unknown. And listen, what are your choices? You wake up, you go to the same vampire job, you come home to do the same unsatisfying thing. You eat, you watch TV, maybe you drink a little bit to help you forget about how miserable your day is. You go to bed and repeat. Or you can throw yourself a curveball and watch what happens if the first idea doesn't work. Okay, so let me go back. Just watch what happens if you do throw yourself a curveball. My point is, if the first idea doesn't work, then you don't just say, that sucks. I knew it wasn't going to work. I'm a loser. You investigated one thing, one idea. One idea does not make it a losing, proposition. It really doesn't. You have to think about it. So what happens if the first idea doesn't work? Do you give up? No. You talk, you listen, you watch, and be inspired by things and people around you. Find something that inspires you. Find something else. Look again. Go back to the drawing board. Start a blog, a podcast, design, create, sell something, create do-it-yourself videos, things that you're good at. Maybe you're a mechanic. Maybe you're a carpenter. Maybe you like to do things with your hands and you're good at it to the point where most people on the planet are not. Create do-it-yourself videos and put them on YouTube. It just takes momentum, folks. You can do it. And the worst thing that you can do is be one of those people who said, oh, hey, that was my idea. I had that idea. And then you're actually watching somebody else do something that you had the idea to do. That's pitiful. And it's just heartbreaking. And that's something that is definitely avoidable. So you create these videos, you just put yourself out there, try something new, be bold, take a chance, and have fun doing it. And I think that's the key. I think a lot of people today are unhappy in their lives for one of many reasons. Maybe they're in the wrong relationship, maybe they're in the wrong job, maybe they're unhappy with themselves and who they have become. Maybe they just mindlessly droned on in a path that was kind of carved out for them and they didn't put a lot of thought into it. And, this is what I have to say about that. Here's a disclaimer, first of all. I fell prey or have fallen prey to this many times in my life. And I think a lot of people have as well. There's just this thing put out there, this big plan, a bigger picture, a universal idea that you think you have to participate in. And you just kind of drone on that path without really thinking about it and where you're going to end up. Well, I think a lot of people are cruel and angry or resentful and even hateful because they're dissatisfied with where they are in their lives. And they're disappointed or feel victimized by whatever society, the government, the elite class, the state of the economy. It doesn't matter. One of those things. These people are truly unsatisfied, either because they feel they're owed or maybe deserve more than they have, or they just choose to drone on a path without really thinking about where that path was going to take them or where they were going to end up on, at the end of that path. Let me give you my white bread suburban path. Okay, so we go to high school, we graduate high school, which wasn't an option. Next thing was college. So um, you go to college, you graduate college, maybe you live at home with your parents for a year. I hope not too much longer than that. Get an apartment, you meet somebody, maybe you get married, you live in the city if you're a city kind of a person, and um, then you're thinking about having children. So you move to the suburbs, you get a house, now you have kids, on and on and on you drone until your midlife crisis, as if we don't have a say in any of this. It's a playbook that we have been trained to follow verbatim, but we don't have to. So let's say that is where you are in your life and you're not sure how it happened, or you're not sure how it happened to you, but you wake up and you're middle-aged, a middle-aged man, an older bull, and you're dissatisfied, lacking that feeling, longing for something better. And you know what, guys? I'm not talking about a midlife crisis where you need to buy a Corvette or have a young girlfriend. I'm talking about that's just misrepresenting a midlife crisis. And that's misrepresenting what you're feeling. You need a midlife awakening, is what it is. And that is finding something that will awaken the animal in you again. Think back to when you were 20. Think back to when you were just young and dumb, and you would do anything and you would risk anything because it didn't really matter. Or maybe you, right now, you're thinking about it. You say, you know what, guy? I was never really a risk taker, so that doesn't really pertain to me. Well, maybe it's time for you to start taking some risks, but you can minimize them. You don't have to take great risks to the point where you're jeopardizing your family and your income and having a roof over your head. I'm not one of those extremists. I'm not saying drop everything, just blow your life up, start all over again. No, no, no. I don't believe in that. You don't have to do that, but you do need to move in a direction that is going to help you make the changes that you need to make to be the man that you want to be. What are the highlights of your day? I'm asking you directly. What are the highlights of your day? Do you have any? What do you look forward to? And this is not about money necessarily either. Like I said earlier, it can be about money, but it doesn't have to be. This happens across socioeconomic classes. People wake up in the middle of their life saying, I'm just not happy. And they can be well off financially. So don't kid yourself. A lot of people are unhappy with where they are right now. And I'm asking, are you? And what are you going to do about it? So this is going to take some unwrapping on your part. I know it did on mine. You're going to need to shed some of that outer covering that you've used to protect yourself and maybe even kid yourself into thinking that everything is okay. I'm all right. I have a nice life. Things are fine. I'm good. I'm okay. If you remember back to one of my other episodes, those were four-letter words that no man should ever use to describe their life. Fine, okay, good, and whatever the other one is. But if that's how you're describing your life, that's pitiful. That's what you want. You're going to settle for that. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're settling for it. Most of us spend a lot of time, early on in our life, in young adulthood, wrapping ourselves, protecting ourselves from hurt and pain and challenge. But that's just fear, gentlemen. It it's real, but it's also damaging. It's time to shed the skins that we use to protect our true selves. Why do we do it in the first place? Why do we protect ourselves? It's fear, right? Fear of everything: rejection, disapproval, defeat. Think about it. When we were out at the bars a long time ago, I think dinosaurs were still walking the earth, and we were young, and I would look at guys who would go up to the most beautiful women in the bar, and I would say, man, that takes guts. How does he do that? How's he doing that? He's got a lot of courage. But it really wasn't that at all. It really, well, was more like, what have I got to lose? It was more about momentum and moving forward and saying, I'm going to do this. I've got absolutely nothing to lose. It's about odds. And the other thing was that those were the only kinds of guys that were talking to those women. And so when you ask yourself, how did he get her? How did he end up being with her? Well, the answer is he was probably one of very few men, guys, boys who asked her out on a date, for a drink, to dance. So take a chance. Quit protecting yourself. Don't be afraid to say the things that you need to say, to do the things that you need to do. Be the man that you need to be and see how good it feels. Again, you're going to get blowback. I know this from personal experience, especially if you live this kind of comfortable life. Everything's all right kind of a life. And now you're going to be tipping the apple cart a little bit and changing things. And yet you appear a little more aggressive, a little more masculine. And everybody knows that masculinity is toxic. But I think it's worth it. Actually, I'm just saying that. I know it's worth it. I think following this plan will make us much more grateful. And when you're grateful, I don't think you can be fearful or angry. Anger and fear are the two things that bring most of us down on a daily basis. So if we can eliminate those two things, I think we're all going to be in a better space. Everybody wants to be happy, but they are not on the road that leads to it by pure virtue of everyday life and the shit that we allow to get in the way. If we have a habit of being worried or ticked off or stressed, we have to change that. We need to know and believe that we are greatly affected by the people we surround ourselves with, by the environment that we put ourselves into. And if we don't take control of it, it will take control of us. That's what I'm talking about as far as following this path. That we've been blindly following, or that's been blindly put in front of us. I don't know who put it in front of us, or if it's just this thing that we've made up, but I know it's there. So you just need to be aware of that. And if you're just one of the sleepwalkers, you need to change that. So I do believe it's our choice to make changes. Daily practice is necessary. It has to happen. Shifting experiences, doing what you love with who you love, and there has to be a meaning to whatever it is, whatever you're going to choose to do. There has to be meaning. There has to be some kind of an emotional attachment there. Whatever the thing that you're looking to do is, it needs to be meaningful to you, or maybe to other people. Maybe your gift is reaching out and helping other people feel good about themselves. I know I love to make people laugh. I love to make people smile. I do. That makes me feel good. And it makes me feel good about me, and it makes me feel good about doing something to help other people. There were two reasons for me starting this podcast. And the first one was very selfish. It was about me getting my thoughts and my words out and down on a piece of paper and sharing them with other people. And the second thing was hoping that my words, my thoughts would help some people, hoping that other people saw it, the world, whatever, my thoughts, the same way, or maybe never thought of it the way that I was expressing it, and decide to make some changes because of what I shared. And the only way I will know is by taking that first step. So that's what I did. Why aren't you going to do it? Is what you need to ask yourself. What's stopping you? So let's see. The way I see it is we have a choice: finding a purpose, having something to be excited and jacked about, something meaningful in your lives, or droning on with no purpose, being fine, being okay, being a part of the Walking Dead. You know, I'm not sure, but it seems like a simple choice to me. It seems like a simple choice to make. Not easy to make happen, but it's a simple choice to make. It's not easy, but very possible. Again, depending on whether you're willing to do whatever it is you need to do. Chunk it a little bit at a time, break it down, think about it. I believe it's worth it. When we embark on the personal revolution, you're not only making yourself better, you're affecting the world around you, whether you know it or not. So light yourself on fire and let the world see. Gentlemen, that's what I think, and I'm sticking to it. And I'll see you next time, America.